we who are living here in this world and don't see anything past this world, so it's hard for us to swallow, to accept, okay, what will happen afterwards will outshine and will justify. But I'm willing to accept that my perspective is so limited that I can't fully appreciate how anything afterwards could justify such horrors over here. But I'm willing to accept that that's only because of my limited perspective. So, Yafi, the concept, even if I can't apply the concept to each individual case, or the case that you brought up, which was a national case, that doesn't, to me, right, everyone has their own 2 by 2 square inches of decision-making processes over there. For me personally, that doesn't mean the concept is wrong if I can't apply it. It means, and actually, with this will end, when we speak about the Torah that is studied in the world to come, so there are teachings that Torah is the Vayhi ben Soharon, that small Parsha of the Torah we say is a book in and of itself. We'll discuss it when we get, right? That is about the Torah that we discuss, that will be studied there, is all the ups and downs and twists and turns and tragedies and triumphs that the Jewish people, that we as a nation of Israel have endured from beginning of time, how that is all part of God's chesed, kindness master plan. Those things that seem to be the antithesis of any kindness, but we will see that is the Torah that will be studied, how all of this, Bayom Hu Yeh Hashem Echad Shmo Echad, was all part of God's kindness and master plan. And until then, we struggle with it, right? We choose to either accept it or not, but it's a struggle. I'll grant you it's a struggle, and some people, everyone decides what they decide on that. But it's a struggle. But I'll tell you one thing though. For me, it's more difficult for me to accept a God as a God that is not all powerful. That things happened, right, against his control, beyond his control. That's, for me, that's more difficult for me to understand and to accept. If I'm believing in a God, that this God is not all powerful and things happen beyond his control, right, that's more difficult for me to swallow, to live with, than to say that well, the Holocaust, I can never understand how that could be. For me. But again, everyone's got it. Everyone's. I respect that.
I do believe that there is a power that is orchestrating everything, but the El Rachum v'Chanon, the El Rachum v'Chanon, good, that let something like this happen, it's beyond my...
Okay.
And then we have to rejoice when a person dies. He has a chance of...
when 1 million kids went into the gas chamber...
Well, that's something else.
I cannot... I cannot... fully...
I think I cannot fully understand it, that's for sure. I can accept, I can't fully understand. Right? And you're making a good point. The reason that we cry when we're sad and when someone dies, we cry when someone dies, is because we are losing our connection to that person. Not that that person is lost. We are losing the connection that we've had to that person until this point, we no longer have. And we are mourning our loss, not the loss of the person. The Gemara compares it to a gem that gets lost in the sand. The gem isn't lost. It's exactly where it is. Right? But we have lost our connection to it.
But you cry different. If I lost my mother, who was 92 years old,
correct,
I cry different than if a baby or a
correct,
child died at the age
correct.
of, you know,
because one,
I'm mourning my separation,
one we accept as sadness.
I'm mourning this life
yes,
that was lost.
One we accept as sadness. The other we view it as a tragedy. But again, right, and I've certainly mourned both.
And again, where is the God that is Chanon v'Rachum?
1 second.
You know,
where's the God that's Chanon v'Rachum in such a situation? If we're viewing our life here as something that is not the natural state. The natural state is that the soul is with Hashem. And the soul needs to be sent here for a period of time. So who's going to decide what is the requisite period of time but God? And for some people, they'll need 120 years, and some people will need 80 years, and some people will need 7 years, and some people will need 12 years, and some people will need 3 years, and some people will need a month. Right? So if we're going to view it as a soul returning back to its place, and the amount of time it needed to spend here, it's spent, then it's really irrelevant whether it's a month, a year, 30 years, or 90 years. Nevertheless, and again, that's what I believe, right? Do I cry more bitterly about my sister's death than about my father's death? My father was 80, my sister was 12. Yes, I do cry more bitterly about my sister's death than my father's death. But what I believe, and I try to integrate, is each person had their time to spend here in this non-natural state until they were summoned back to their natural state of being with God. That's what I believe. Putting it into play is a challenge. But again, right, personally, what I try to do is not allow the particular situations that I find troubling to take away from my belief basis. I'm more comfortable believing that I don't understand this particular than believing in a God that things happen beyond His control. That's where I'm lying. That's where I line up.
It's
okay.
I don't know how 1 million kids had only this amount of time to be on the face of this earth and go there. It's 1 million kids that were sent into the gas chambers.
Yeah.
So
all at different ages.
For me, it's like beyond. Yeah. And don't get me
wrong.
I'm
with you on the challenge.
And don't get me wrong. I do think that there is something that is orchestrated for good and bad.
Right. So basically, what we're saying is we need to